blink, you're going to be doing damage, you're going to be setting up for your team. That is still vital here for MG.Trust. Get to that good start, get that blink fast on Fearless, and start hunting. Like, it's going to take some time for Savage to be big. It's going to take a little bit of investment as well for Abed to actually start dishing the damage out. You have to use that early window here. And another thing that's really important beyond just winning out those lanes is really where Boombell goes as the Tusk, right? Like, he needs to ensure that his presence leads to kills. If not kills, then he needs to make his presence really tough in that lane up. And you're already seeing, well, at least 3 heroes down. But they're actually sending Jackie on the off lane here. And we'll see if that pays off. The aggression... The aggression you can get out with a Drow and Tusk early on, you talked about. It's Frost Arrows tag team. Even a Root coming out from Q. You can more than likely find some kills here, and just back and forth. Both teams just really happy.
I don't know what my pro's done, but apparently they reckon he is the best carry in C.
It's their guild, right? MY? Kitty quick. Look, I have no clue who they're calling out, but Bonchon. Now they're just making us hungry. Here we go.
Here we go again. Clans are going to end soon, though, aren't they? Like, the battle pass is going to wear off, and then clans are gone.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I mean, they're supposed to be gone, right? They were supposed to be gone. They're not gone yet. Do you reckon Immortal Treasure Tree comes out? Because they said they're not going to end it until then, but you never know.
I don't know. I have no clue, John. Q takes the bounty rune down bot. It'll be a 2-for-2 trade to get us started. And what I'm very, very intrigued about is how this mid matchup is going to go between Fearless and Abed. I mean, the Tiny's very effective, obviously, with the tree grab at CSing. But it's going to get to a point where that Tidebringer is really going to start to hurt. Unless you can get some nice tossbacks into your tier 1 tower or something like that, it's going to be a hard lane for him eventually.
Yeah, it's not a very easy matchup. I'd say it's explosive at level 4 for Fearless, so when you get 2-2 in your skill points, you can go for a play, or at least 2-1-1 on your skill points. Maybe try to go for an avalanche toss kill, but Abed's, it's going to be a smooth ramp up. Tidebringer's just going to sustain him. The supports are going to have to make that difference up, and you know, it's not going to be an easy time. You look up top, you've got Masaros on the NP, of course, with Boombell on the Tusk. So it's actually the NP Tusk lane. Tag team with the Treants is what you're looking for. No early tri lane for that first blood, but it's not a very easy lane to really force it. Savage is around there. They've got Jabs helping him out in the ET, and even if you get the tag team off, you can just kind of shift through and stay alive.
Whiteman running at them, forcing out the tag team from Boombell. You seem very afraid of this Elder Titan, as of course with the Astral Spirit, even at level 1, you can essentially just get double the damage that you have, and it's kind of ridiculous how much damage Elder Titan can pump out. It's back down to that bot lane. Q and Jackie having a decent old time, not too stressed out about trying to harass out Kuku. Wyman will give him a bit of a thunder strike, but the Fortune's End is going to be able to purge that off anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a smooth lane for Kuku for the most part. Now, he's not going to necessarily slow down Jackie's farm. At the same time, Jackie's not going to be able to put a dent in Kuku's farm. This is going to be a farm-for-farm trading lane, and it should actually benefit Kuku a bit more just to maintain that pace. You know, Bloodseeker with the early Veil can do a lot of damage and can set the pace of the game. Something you're going to have to be careful about.
Top lane, Masaros going to be the first blood, and Jabs, he just keeps rushing forward. Boombell could not get away from this man, and eventually Jabs will go down, but he does help set up both kills and eventually takes one for himself, and that's going to be a great start out for Among Us.
Yeah, just that's exactly what you want when you've got the ET. You want to enable that aggressive play. And it pays off big. He did have to expend his salve to get that chase off, but you find a kill, so you're happy enough. You're going to be able to TP into, well, no, not regen Savage up, because you don't have any left, but still a smooth lane coming out for Savage. Widow's Kilt's going to be very happy. You're not seeing the same farm from Masaros. He's at 7 to 8 compared to Savage's 13, 14 to 5. You're not slowing that Morphling down.
Nice multi-shot out of Jackie. He is going to be able to pick off Whiteman, and Kuku was trying to go after Q, but Q's going to be able to salve up and slow Kuku right down. Fortune's End is going to fly out, but we do have a pause out from Abed now. Not 100% sure what the problem is, but I assume it's just a tiny bit of lag coming out. Speaking of that mid lane, Fearless is standing real far back. Looks like he has been taking quite a bit of harassment out from this Kunkka and has had to go back and get some regen for himself. Does bring out a set of tangos.
Yeah, he does have his bottle early, so he's going to be able to maybe play around those power runes. Again, going to be important for the Tiny to find those just to ensure you've got that regen going. So, again, watch the 4-minute mark for the sports, which it's going to be important. We've seen a lot of teams put that emphasis on the mid just to get those first runes. Wouldn't be surprised to see it here still. Ready to go, and Kuku is fine.
He's still running. They haven't got a way to hold him down any further. I mean, you've got Boombell there with the snowball, but I don't know if you really have the damage output. It just seems like they're more than happy to make Kuku run around instead of being in the bot lane. That seems to be the idea here, but even Boombell going to sneak up from behind now to Kuku, but won't be able to get anything done. Meanwhile, mid lane, Fearless is dropping very low. He's going to juke out the torrent. Does get a toss off. Abed wants to go for the final swing, and the Thunderstrike is going to be out from Whiteman as well. But now the snowball is coming into Abed, and this should be a trade. It will be. Q able to pick up that one on the Oracle. But you're still very happy if you're Abed. And even top lane Jabs. He just rushes Masaros with the Auto Titan again and offers him a glass of water.
Yeah, that's one thing you've got to watch out for, just the amount of damage that the ET can do. Jabs has been running down Masaros for a while. You can't leave that lane alone, and they do finally send Q up to do some damage, but Jabs is already happy.
Mid lane, they end up actually dropping Whiteman, and now Q ends up killing off Jabs on his way out. Masaros will just TP his way back in on the Prophet. Of course, Whiteman on the Disruptor, John. He was trying to soak some XP in the mid lane, but does end up getting caught out by the Tiny and the Tusk.
Yeah, it's that early aggression here for MG.Trust. That's what their lineup has to get up to. So they're starting to find this aggressive plays, making it work for themselves. They're not finding bigger kills. When you're still happy with just finding these support pickups, you would really want to start to maybe get the kills on the Bloodseeker. But look at that disparity between Kuku and Jackie. Jackie's at 5. Kuku's still just about to hit 4. Our Drow now off to a very good start compared to that BS.
That's a real problem. I mean, he's got the creeps near his tier 1 tower, so he's going to feel fairly safe. And even Jabs now is going to rotate in with Whiteman. They take out Boombell's courier. Blood Rights to come out. They would really love to get Jackie on this Drow, but now actually Whiteman going to get turned on by Boombell and the tag team, and they actually end up giving up the Disruptor. No kill on Jackie. No kill on anyone for that matter. That's a big win out for MLPDotA.
Yeah, they're finding the kills. Again, the early aggression starting to pay off a massive amount. You're not finding that snowball start on the Bloodseeker as you'd want. They have diverted their resources out to Abed and Savage, so they're getting the farm out for those two heroes, but you got to be cautious about how much space you give Jackie. This guy is just on top there as a Drow, and once they make their way to tier 1s, those aren't going to stand for too long.
Speaking of tier 1, Savage has gotten started on that top tier 1 tower. Masaros not wanting to get too close to this Morphling, who is out-leveling him by 1. To make matters worse for Masaros, Jabs is here, but a great avalanche toss out from Fearless. Sneaking up behind 23savage and does end up getting the kill with the avalanche toss.
That's an important one. They've left that Morphling alone for a bit too long. Finally getting the punishment. That's going to give the MG.Trust a definite edge. Slowing down that Morphling farm, which is, again, what Among Us is banking on. You still got Savage up in #1 in net worth. Jackie's not too far behind, though. That does save their tier 1 for a bit longer. but MG.Trust, with these movements, must be feeling pretty good. They just need Masaros to bounce back in, and he's already 6 after that rough start. He's starting to slowly build in on the NP. Still a lot slower than you'd want, but it's a better time than even Kuku. Like, you compare that to Kuku's off, still at 4. No rupture up yet, no farm at all.
This is so rough, but Masaros is going to get glimpsed back at least. Kuku still in danger, has TPs coming in, but it's not going to matter. Fearless able to set up for Jackie. Now Abed does rotate, but the Edict is going to stop the magic damage coming out on Fearless. Abed's still going to go for the chase, but Fortune's End, no, it's not going to be enough. But they'll turn around now on that Kunkka. Abed, he's a tanky man, but he may not be tanky enough as he is dropping quite low and does go down to Q on the Oracle. And MG.Trust, they are really taking a nice lead in this game number 2. So Kuku does TP back in, but this bot lane is just completely lost for Among Us.
Oh yeah, and all they find is a trade for Masaros up top, opening up that push once more for Savage, but losing Kuku again is not worthwhile. That's not the trade. Slow start for the Bloodseeker, Mike. No rupture. I mean, he's going to have to play in the jungle. Again, this is space being bought out for Abed and for Savage. But what do you expect a Bloodseeker to do now when he's lower than the supports of MG.Trust? Boomball, about to hit the 6 mark. Tier 1 bot going to be traded for the Tier 1 top. And MG.Trust, they've got a slight lead. 1k gold advantage, but 6 to 10 on kills. They've got a nice amount of EXP above their heads as well. And they're starting to take over that bot jungle. Among Us, they can't play here anymore.
They cannot. On the brighter side, of course, Savage did manage to kill off Masaros up at that top lane, so your Prophet is having an even rougher time. At least he's on at level 6. Kuku, he just can't catch a break. Fearless is not going to leave him alone. Does get another kill onto this Bloodseeker. He is level 5 now, but just getting him back into the graveyard. And they're going to start setting up for that mid lane. Jackie, he's joined in. Still Abed, going to go for an X-Back, but a nice snowball back towards the creep wave out from Boombell will save Fearless the headache.
Again, you can see the discipline from MG.Trust playing the objectives game with their Drow draft. And there's just nothing Among Us can really do. They can drop the blood right, but the tower's already really low.
Grouping up again. Looks like MG.Trust, they want to take this fight. They do get the tier 1 tower. They're going to be able to catch anyone out. Not quite. Shards just way off target. But they got what they came for. You got a quick mid-tier 1. I suppose the only problem left right now for MLPDotA is Savage has been farming freely this whole time.
Yeah, it's not a massive amount of gold he's got on top. He's just about 600 above Jackie. It's not too significant, actually. It's pretty much, it's not even a big item. And they're still waiting on Savage to finish up his Manta. He's going to go into the E-Blade next. That's when you start to find opportunities for burst, especially if you play with, say, Blood Rage later on from Kuku. Once he has that up, if you pump it onto Savage to get the shotgun blast off, you're going to delete people off the map. It's just that you have to get to that. So, you know, just stalling out this game is the best Among Us can really hope for the next few minutes. Stimmy the push, you know, stimmy the bleeding. Stop it out for a bit. Keep yourself safe. Find some safe spots on the map to farm. Savage is doing the right thing, playing in that top jungle where there are no real wards, nothing to stop that farm, and that's the best you can hope for right now.
Masaros does TP bot and does find Whiteman. Gets the Sprout off, but gets glimpsed back immediately. Nature's Wrath will fly through. Among Us, I'm not sure if they can take this fight. Snowball, going to be out on jabs, but that'll force out the boat from Abed. Right onto Boombell. He's pretty low with that Rupture, and he's going to drop it. Now Savage is going to join his team. They do pick off Fearless on that mid-tiny. The chase continues. They'd love to get Jackie on this Drow. That Blood Right going to be well positioned with the Torrent out from Abed, and that means this Drow Ranger may have just lost his life though. No, they do get the False Promise off in time, but Savage has got so much damage coming out. I think Jackie might just die anyway, and will. Kuku has him surrounded with Savage, and there goes your Drow. Not to mention Q also being caught now on the Oracle does go down, and Boombell is not out of the woods yet. He just brought back on that task, but they're just going to keep rushing him. Savage on top, goes for the waveform through, gets tossed back by Fearless. They do lose jabs. Have they gone too far? Snowball is out from Boombell, but no. They don't seem to have the damage output. Savage is actually blocked up by those trees. Thinking about turning back around. Fearless, avalanche toss on Abed, just trying to get that Kunkka down. He is now trapped in the Sprout, but still on the run. Turns around for a Tidebringer, but does eventually go down. Savage might not want to stick around that area. They do toss Boombell in. He's got the Walrus Punch. He's got the Snowball available. The Savage is going to waveform. Still, the Snowball is going to follow him down. They have control, but a great stomp out from Jabs. It's going to stop him in their tracks. And that'll be it for that team fight.
Yeah, it's still a pretty big win for Among Us. They managed to find Jackie. They trade away Abed for that, but they win out in the end. It's still a slight lead now for MG.Trust, but you can see Savage start to pull ahead from those kills on him. 7.4k compared to Jackie's around 6k. So a nice 1.5k lead, as I believe Savage is flying out his Manta, or at least a recipe. So it's almost there. Into the Scotty next. That's the point where Savage can start to apply some more presence, but MG.Trust are not leaving any room to breed, keeping that shove down bot.
Very easy push for them. Bloodright gonna come out to delay things, but oh, they're gonna start a fight. Fearless does jump in onto Whitemon. It's another disruptor kill for himself, and that'll give him his Blink Dagger money. 14 minutes in, he does now have it up. He's also going to find a nice double damage rune for himself in this Tiny. So expect him to try and get another kill very, very soon.
Yeah, just racking up the damage. Among Us, the one big issue for them right now is the level 6 timings on their supports, particularly Whitemon. He's been stuck at 5. And he needs to hit that 6 point. They need a Static Storm to come out. Jabs has been on point with his stomps, but you just need that additional control. And he does have his ult up as well here, Jabs. Finally getting the point in. Once you have that tool from Whitemon, you might be able to look for more opportunities with a counter plays. But you are down in control now. That bot jungle not very safe for anyone in Among Us to go into.
Avalanche toss. That'll be Whitemon gone. Poor Disruptor just trying to get some D wards out, but immediately dies to the Tiny. Among Us just trying to allow Kuku to catch up on this Bloodseeker, and in all fairness, he has reached level 9 now. So he's getting there. He's very close to being fully caught up. But in terms of net worth, he is very low. I mean, 4.3k is pretty abysmal. Behind the Oracle of all things on the other side. Not a very good position for him.
No, and you know he's going for that Blade Mail build just to have that value item up early. You tend to see the Veil be prioritized. You just can't go for it. Like there's not enough to really maximize it as well. So that does put the utility back just a touch for Among Us on that Bloodseeker. Down mid though.
Abed gets the X off on Boombell, but the Snowball will be there in time, and Whitemon, he's already gone, and now Fearless, well, he gets blown up by Savage. So 1 for 1, but it looks like Among Us are going to be ahead here. There's Boombell, he'll try for the TP, Abed will just X him back, that'll be Boombell gone. And of course, meanwhile, Q, he is also surrounded with the False Promise out, does get the TP off in time, but does die in the fountain. That'll be a 3-for-1 trade, I believe it was. Only Whitemon going down for Among Us. Even then, he's died that many times on the Disruptor. I really don't think he minds anymore.
No, definitely doesn't. You're going to be happy if you're Among Us. You get the big kills. You punish Fearless for being a bit too keen. And you're building up still. There's just a lot more room to grow as the game goes late and they find more.
Or Jackie, that's the big one. Bloodright to come in. Masteros TP'd into the Bloodright. Maybe he saved the Drow, but he's given his own life away here. He's trying to run. Fearless, a great avalanche toss with the multi-shot out. Jabs, very low, does go down to the Purifying Flames, but there goes Masteros. Also dying on the Prophet. Savage just going to TP his way out on the Morph. Abed trying to do the same. Everyone missing out on those TPs. And Whitemon actually survives the avalanche toss this time around. Does get himself away.
Oh yeah, just a really messy back and forth in the end. I believe Among Us are going to be happy. They're keeping Masaros down as much as Kuku has been kept down. A little bit a bit better for the NP, but not by much. So you're going to be happy with that. There's a smoke here from MG.Trust though. They're going to keep hunting.
Yeah. I mean, you've got such low cooldowns. I mean, there's essentially no cooldowns apart from the false promise. You may as well just keep going. Fearless into Savage. That'll be a massive pickoff. Avalanche toss. Not quite enough. Not even with the multi-shot. Savage will try to waveform out. Now the trade. They want to turn around and fight here. Among Us do get the boat out. Onto Jackie. With the stomp out from Jabs. Still Fearless. Going to jump back in for an avalanche toss. But Kuku just trying to get out. Will not be able to. The Fortune's End is going to be enough. Who are they aiming here? Jabs getting trapped up on the low ground. Can't get the stomp off in time. He'll also be the one to go down. They're going to try for a Roshan play.
Oh, that's going to be a big one. You're not in a position here for Among Us to try to fight in. They can't afford to give it out, but you can't expect 3 heroes to do enough. And MG.Trust, you talked about it, but no cooldowns to wait for. They're always ready to fight. It feels like that momentum's a bit too much for Among Us to play again. Like MG.Trust, they're just all over the map, forcing the aggression. Among Us need more time to farm, and they're not being given that time.
It's basically all on just Savage to get that farm up, and he is still doing a great job of getting his net worth up. It's just that Morphling is so weak right now that it just takes a lot more time. You need more items on this hero than you used to. It's like just back in the day, you used to just buy a shotgun and it was fine. You were good to go, but it's not so much the case anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be slower going. Another factor as well is that Kuku still hasn't recovered too well. He's still lagging behind. He's barely ahead of Q, mind you. Like a while ago, he was behind Q, so that's an improvement compared to being behind. But again, you want to see a little bit more progress there. Still, MG.Trust, they've got that Aegis. They're feeling confident. 20 minutes in, 14 to 19, clearing out that top tier 1. No defense coming out, of course, as it's pretty much a dead lane. Not much you can really expect there, although...
Kuku just ruptured it, TPing Tiny. Turn around onto Boombill, but the glimpse back is going to ruin the blood run. Bit of miscoordination there, and Jabs spy himself across the map. He's also going to get caught out by Fearless.
Yeah, and that punishment is costing them. This is delaying the Ag's timing for Jabs. They really need it just to get the full channel off from their spells, and having that spell immunity up when the Astral Spirit is out, very helpful. It's delayed. It's really delayed now when he's not had that progression. So Among Us being punished for this slower playstyle in MG.Trust, they grow bigger and bigger. They've got that Spirit Vessel up on Boombill, so you've got a way to mitigate that regen that is coming out on Savage. It's just the bane of every single Morphling. Like, having your strength morph be affected in such a way always hurts, and that's going to make it more complicated for Savage to keep himself alive.
That it will, but he's got an Aghanim Scepter himself now. So what's the idea? He's going to morph into Jabs, get the Aghanim's upgrade from Jabs, get a free BKB and stolen damage.
Perhaps, yeah. That sounds like it. Just the free damage, then you swap back to Morphling. It sounds pretty ridiculous. Even Abed, right? They turn into a second Kunkka with 2 X's, 2 Torrents. That's pretty good as well.
The Torrent Storm's gonna be quite nice.
Oh yeah.
For Savage, but he does go for the Order Titan.
Okay, how much damage?
That's not too much.
Yeah, it's actually a bit underwhelming. Just 55 bonus. You'd want more, but this is, it's helpful. It's low committal to get the spirit out. You're not wasting much just running through there. And it is a nice scouting tool, so Savage can protect himself. It looks so funny when you see 2 of them flying out, though.
Yeah.
Just a bit strange.
This spirit, oh, it's gone. was stuck in the trees.
Yeah,
'cause
because he lost the form.
yeah.
You gotta love the beta game, Mike.
Yep.
You gotta love it.
Fearless mid lane. Yeah, a little bit cautious there, just showing himself for a second. Go for a smoke. Spirit is going to go through, and they know Jabs is pinging it out. Kuku stuck around there. There's an avalanche toss out from Fearless. He is a bit tankier than you'd expect now, so Blood Right is going to be able to come out with the Rupture. A snowball tiny away, but Fearless going to have to take the stop now from Jabs, but it's going to be no follow-up to that. That'll pretty much be it.
Yeah, it's not the biggest loss in the world for Among Us. Again, they've already kind of resigned to Kuku's fate and Kuku's farm. Gotta be careful still showing up here, not very safe.
Whitemon, he could go for a glimpse back, but the snowball is going to buy them some time to run. There's your glimpse coming out onto Fearless with a static storm and kinetic field. And this Tiny, well, he'll get used up. Might buy him enough time. In fact, it does, but the X is now going to be there from Abed. Great shards out from Boombell, locking them in, and now Fearless back out with the toss. Straight onto Jabs, but the Elder Titan is still not dying. Now poor old Masaros going to get glimpse back on the Prophet. They do finally kill Jabs. But can they retreat without being punished? Oh, that's a nice snowball once again from Boombell. Going to buy time to avoid the bone. Now with the multi-shot, going back in, but here comes Savage, trying to go after Q. In fact, no, they'll focus on Boombell. That'll be a Tuskon. Fearless, he's just bleeding in the corner. Can't really help right now as he waits for the Rupture to wear off. And it finally does, so we'll go after Whitemon. Doesn't really finish off the kill, or does actually with that tree throw, but it's going to cost him his own life. Or perhaps not, the false promise is out now from Q. Kuku still going in with the Blood Right. Is going to go down to Q on the Oracle. Savage, go back in for the Prophet. Eventually might be able to get him, but no. Again, Q saving the day. And now our Drow can turn back around onto Abed and get that damage out. Abed with that Heaven's Halberd, going to be able to walk away. Now Savage going back onto the Drow. It's literally Abed versus Savage versus the world. Boombell going to come back in with the Walrus Punch now. Abed getting a reset. He's XTPing and coming back into this fight very, very soon to help out Savage once again. Torrent is going to be there, the Fortune 10 flying all the way back from the fountain onto Masaros. The Prophet is very low, but Savage is even lower and does end up finally dropping. And now Abed has been left alone with no friends. Well, I say that, Whiteman is just around the corner. There's not much he can do as the Disruptor to help out. He'll drop a kinetic field. Rupture out on Boombell. Kuku now going to come back into the fight. But they do not want to continue. They want to disengage, and they will get away with Abed intact.
Ooh, man, a messy back and forth between both sides, but that is a big win for MG.Trust. They come out on top in the end. Jackie, living true with a sliver of HP, gonna be very pleased with himself. As Among Us, they keep having to throw the bodies out. Now, that Astral Spirit Ags upgrade, giving a free BKB to Savage is big, and he is going for the pure right-click build off of that. He's got his crit stick up. He's looking for the Daedalus next, and maybe finish up the Scotty afterwards. But it's just a lot of farm that needs to come out for him to match that output, for him to start bursting these heroes down. And it's starting to feel a bit lacking. Like, they've got a lot of durability with Abed, but the damage isn't coming out. Kuku, you know, he just drops Blood Right. There's just not much you can do when you're this far behind on the Bloodseeker. They're going to have to find a way to get that farm distribution back on track. Except when your map has shrunk this much, it's very difficult to get all of these heroes up and running. And, you know, key items are still coming out for MG.Trust. There's a BKB up on Jackie, so they smoke up. They're going to go hunting.
Why the hell not? Obviously that last team fight, although it was quite even, did go very well for Motivate. Again, they're going to start with Whitemon to burst him down. Snowball going to be out. We'll stun him up through the Glimmer Cape, and Boombell will eventually just finish him off with the Walrus Punch. Onto that tier 2 mid tower. Of course, Jabs is going to be there to just try and slow things down with the Older Titan Stomp. But look at the damage coming out from Jackie and Masaros. It's just so much damage. They are forced to glyph this one up. Stomp is out with the Blood Right onto Fearless, but he's going to be alright to run away. Perhaps not for Q though, as he does get X back, but he gets the False Promise off in time. Now the snowball back in, but Abed times the boat very, very well. It does connect both of them with Jackie, getting the multi-shot, but Savage now is breaking the gap, going after Fearless and the Drow. Do they have the damage output or the control? Fearless, nice blink away. Kuku's running pretty fast, but they're not going to keep chasing. Or are they? Savage? He's looking for a glimpse attempt with that Disruptor morph, but not going to be able to get one.
Yeah, it's a good disengage for MG.Trust. They only lose their supports, so not much of value actually being dropped there. You're going to be happy enough to get back and reset. Would like to make more progress on those tier 2s, especially that mid one, but good defense from Among Us. They are without a fortify for a bit longer though. Have to be cautious about the next fights that break out, as MG.Trust are not gonna... It's not like they're just gonna sit back and wait. Again, no cooldowns means they can just keep running at you, and they might just look for that. There is a Rosh up for the taking as well. Gonna have to keep your eye out on that objective. That is gonna be the Aegis and Cheese. There's a courier here from Kuku to keep track. No, not quite that same information from MG.Trust, but they are smoked.
Whitemon. They get caught out by Fearless again, and well, gets the Glimmer Cape off in time. It's gonna be alright. Fearless still looking for him, does eventually get him with the Avalanche Toss, and it will be enough with Q throwing out the Purifying Flames. Gonna go for more again. Everybody is going to be able to get back from Among Us, so back into that Roshan pit. Or maybe not. Abed with these illusions going to be able to scout out that pit, so they don't want to risk anything quite yet. Looks like they'll have to come back another time.
Yeah, it's a good stall out from Among Us. Does cost them 1 life, but this puts them in a good position to contest the next Rosh. That Rosh actually. So you're going to have Whitemon up. You've got the Static Storm. It's not a very easy fight for MG.Trust to go into, but looks like they're just going to settle for the runes for now. And again, back to resetting, waiting for certain items. You've got a BKB now on Masaros. So 2 BKBs in play. Fresh charges for MG.Trust. Also very close to getting a blink out on Q and a E-Blade on Fearless. Just maybe wait out for one of those items to be ready, and then you can look to make more plays on the map. As Among Us, you know, they're using that time to farm up as well. It's still a bit slow going. The Daedalus is just about done for Savage though. That's going to be a huge damage boost, especially when he does get a good amount of spirits or a good amount of heroes bumped by his spirit in the Elder Titan form. That is something that MG.Trust has to be a bit leery about. The right click of Savage can shoot up massively from that.
Certainly can. Matter of whether Savage can stay alive though, like that's just been the main issue. Is once that Spirit Vessel gets put on Savage and he doesn't have any way to dispel it, it does get very problematic for this Morphling. Bot lane, Jabs. Can he be picked off by Fearless, who is very, very deep, and this might cost him his life. They throw the Torrent and the boat in, and Savage with the Tiny Morph does manage to get up the kill. Well, they're going to try and rush the Roshan with this. Forcing Among back into that Roshan pit, but they are not taking it fast enough. Kuku will be there to scout this out, and they have to disengage.
Yeah, it's not the best of trades for MG.Trust. You're going to be happy about that if you're Among Us. And again, you're keeping Roche stalled out. It's an awkward situation for MG, as they've been sitting on these BKBs for a while. They haven't had the opportunity to just jump in, commit the BKB, find a fight. They're not finding the opening. So very disciplined of Among Us, just playing the patience game. MG.Trust, they're not getting too rattled. They're still playing that farm up. But it's not too big of a lead they have. They have to be aware as the game pushes towards that late game. You're talking about it's a Morphling late. It scales a little bit better. The Kunkka, especially once the Ags comes out, is going to be a major factor. We've seen the Tide Storm really make a good difference in engagements for teams with a Kunkka. So those are some spikes to watch out for here from MG.Trust. If you stall this out too long, you will have to deal with those tools coming into play.
Absolutely. Funny as well, Loopbet is still sitting as with Among Us as favorites in this match. DOTA Plus is actually agreeing. 61% for Among Us in this matchup. MLPDotA has the 4K net worth lead, but perhaps a bit of a drafting thing to happen there with the AI. Like, it's weird to see that, isn't it? Like, having a higher win rate for Among Us when they're they're 10 kills behind 4K net worth. I know the scaling gets pretty insane when you have a Morphling and things like the Older Titan. I guess the Tiny does drop off. I mean, that is your mid-core in comparison to, say, the Abed Kunkka, who can sort of scale really well with Tidebringer.
Yeah, the one thing is, I mean, MG.Trust can keep up. It's just a bit harder. Like, you fall off in raw stats, you fall off in raw damage. Your kit is not as pliable as Among Us because, you go for a Drow draft. It does tend to hit certain timings, and then it does kind of taper off. You have to be a bit cautious about that. I think as the game goes on, you will have to redistribute that farm to Masaros. So it becomes more about the NP because you want him to be able to really melt down lanes, apply that pressure with a split push. Once you get, say, the site of Vice that he's queued up, and then you can get so much more control as well with the NP when he does go for those side lane pushes. It's just several items away. He's queuing up the AC, and then you're talking about the site of Vice. It's such a long time off. He's gonna need to be the one to start reeling it in, and MG.Trust has to be ready to give that space out. He's relatively close to Jackie in the farm, so they have been very good in splitting it between these two cores. But that's the name of the game. It's just a bit harder to pull off for MG.Trust. They have to kind of play that split push aggressively and force Among Us to make mistakes. And when you're depending on the enemy to make mistakes, it's not a sure-cut thing, especially for a team like Among Us, who, again, they've been undaunted despite being this far behind. They're smoked up looking for a play.
Oh, it's a nice X out, Jackie. It's going to get caught, but they don't capitalize. Perhaps not feeling confident with their position. They didn't have any vision of the other team. So it was just Jackie that they had vision of, and they'll even be, they'll go for the Roshan play.
It's a bit sneaky. You don't have the wards there, and that's a real quick one. Savage picks it up. Can be scary going into this fight with Savage being this big.
He's huge. Gonna start with the Astral Spirits out. We haven't really catch anyone out. Still a very slow game between these two. There's your Aghanim Scepter coming out onto Jabs now, so you've got double Aghanim Scepter on these Titans. So essentially 2 free BKBs. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, if you catch 5 with that Astral Spirit, that's a free 10-second spell immunity once it's back. So you're going to be banking on clumping them up. The issue is getting MG.Trust to be that stuck together. It's been a bit difficult to force them, to corral them into such a tight spot. Really disciplined players. They have been holding out well. There's that E-Blade out on Fearless. He gets a massive damage boost with his Avalanche Toss combo. Have to be wary. And Fearless has been on point targeting key heroes. He's been keeping Whitemon down, keeping that Disruptor out of play, and has made it harder for Whitemon to commit that Static Storm. So watch your spacing there. Ensure your backline's not too exposed. You do start to need that Static Storm to land consistently here as the game racks on.
Here we go. Masteros might be the one to get caught. Tries to for the TP, and they don't have vision. You're right. Fearless, however, is at the top lane. They haven't scouted him out either, so he's going to hide in the tree line.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Looks like they're just going to sit back. They don't really catch anyone out.
Yeah, just stalling out for both sides. Still have that slight lead for MG.Trust. Trying to find those key items on these two heroes. Jackie's still waiting for 2 parts for his butterfly. Masaros is just the plate mail away from having the full AC. So AC into sight, again, very important for the NP to have that control, to have that durability. Perhaps once the sight is up, that's when you can expect MG to go for a play, but with this opportunity, Savage is just cutting the wave onto those tier 2s.
AC now up on Masaros. Savage does take care of that tier 2 top tower and smoke up now. Savage's courier though, he's going to lose that Reaver. So not going to be able to quite finish off the Satanic yet. But they're going to run into Boom Bill and Jackie. Abed should see Jackie there with the Blood Run and does get the X off in time. Jackie, however, pops the BKB. Will be right, and now Fearless going to go in onto Jabs, but he'll also be safe. Jackie now. Or Fearless rather, getting things back on the Tiny. He's been trapped up by that Static Storm and really has nowhere to go. He'll try to force stuff to the low ground, but Savage is on the case, and he is stuck. Does Ghost form up, but it probably won't matter. Eventually Savage should be able to get the kill and does. While Abed was chasing for more on the Kunkka, wasn't able to quite catch anyone out there, but they are still hanging around that bot area. That'll be it. They're going to go mid-tier 2 instead.
Yeah, the objective games for Among Us, they're going to be happy with just finding that one pickoff. Took a lot of work, and just shows you how much more MG.Trust does have left in the bank. Using this opportunity to find some tier 4 items. So they're going to have the edge in that sense, as Among Us hasn't quite dipped into the jungle. They've only got one though, but the high ground is open.
It's a fast tier 3 tower. Disarm Savage, but with that Blood Rage, he does attack very, very quick. We'll back off after the glyph, and they are pinging out that bot tier 1 now, so just wanting to deal with that instead. They do want to go for more than just 1 Rax, of course. Meanwhile, mid lane, Jabs catching out Masaros, does get the Earth Splitter off. Masaros forces TP and BKB and TP out. At the same time, that'll be your Aegis gone now on Savage. It does end up expiring.
Yeah, that's the 10-second BKB reveal as well for Masaros. We've been sitting on those BKBs for so long. Now, that was actually the first time he used it, so again, not finding those openings for MG.Trust to get that item usage out still. MG.Trust, they've smoked up. This is going to be into certain tier 4 items though. The Princess Knife might throw them off a bit there.
Could possibly do so. Fearless, let's get in to cancel the TP of Jabs. They do blow up the Titan. Bone not going to really connect onto Fearless. He does heals away. Masaros, as usual, getting glimpsed out of the team fight, but Kuku is going to be left behind, and they do clean up a 2-0.
It's a big win. Not the biggest kills, but you're going to be having the numbers advantage, so you can look to push down a tower. There's no Roche, so it's going to have to be the last outer tower. And that's all Among Us tier 2 gone. Onto the high ground. They don't have anything like an Aegis though. You've got to be a bit cautious about the damage output here.
Masaros. As soon as they see him, they just glimpse him back every single time. And he'll be alright. He'll be close by. He'll do it the old-fashioned way and walk back down. This tier 3 tower is not going to last very long. That gone. Savage. Get a lot of damage off onto Jackie. You do still have Q there to just reset him. Those heals out. But high ground defense is very, very good from Among Us, and they aren't going to be able to go any further than that tier 3 tower.
Yeah, just playing it safe. You don't want to give any opportunities to Among Us to bounce back. They do have the 7k net worth advantage, 20 to 31. They've got all the space in the world to just sit back, keep farming up. Masaros is working nicely into that site of Vice. Once you've got that in the NP, he gets a sort of a second life in terms of how much damage you can pump out. And you know, you're also finding some decent trickle down farm here for your supports. Q is working towards an Aeon disc, and that is just perfect for something like the Oracle. You know, having that window to just cast your False Promise on your cores going to be a massive help for MG.Trust and boosting their durability. As the game's starting to go a bit late, 14 minutes in. Among Us not out of it yet, but it is getting a bit more complicated in finding those openings.
Neither one really wanting to give the advantage away to the other. Fearless going to go in onto Kuku, but we'll get glimpsed back out from Whitemon. But Masaros going to TP in onto that Disruptor, and they will take him out. Whitemon having a very, very hard game on the Disruptor so far. Just can't really avoid death once he is sprouted up like that. Just accept the fact that he is going to die. Not going to be able to get anything though with that Disruptor kill. It really doesn't mean much because the respawn timer is so low. He's going to be guaranteed to be back up soon anyway.
Yeah, it's one benefit for Whitemon. It's like he is, you know, he's still 15. Doesn't take too long for him to be back. There's no objectives on the map anymore for MG.Trust. That's safe. The Roche is still about a minute and a half, a minute 20 off. And once that's up, that might be where MG.Trust set their sights next. But before then, you know, it's just back to farming, back to waiting out the, building up for buybacks, building up for those big items. You look at Fearless. He is going for the Dagon, so we're at that point where Tiny stacks the Dagons up. Gonna be a bit until he gets the full Dagon 5. But there's that Aeon disc up for MG.Trust, so you've got that safety net on Q to cast the spells, and that's just going to make it more difficult for Among Us. They can't just immediately blow up the Oracle. They're going to have to contend with that fact that one of these heroes are going to stay alive a lot longer than you'd want them to when these fights do break out.
We're in just a bit of a stalemate, I suppose you'd call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 7k net worth lead. It's been a bit up and down, but I suppose 7k at 42, 43 minutes in doesn't really matter anymore. DOTA Plus has no clue, sitting at 57% for Among Us. We're not really seeing that amazing scaling yet out of this more for Kunkka. He's hitting very hard, it's just not the issue. It's so many ways of escaping, so many defensive abilities being thrown out by MLPDotA that they can't really burst down anyone. All props to Q, by the way, on the Oracle. He's been doing an amazing job.
Oh yeah, just been on point. You know, the blink has been paying dividends. MG.Trust, they do smoke up though. Had a bit of enough of that.
Savage gonna get jumped on. Fearless does not get the avalanche, and now does get ruptured. Static Storm gonna hold him in place. They don't really want to give up this Tiny like this, but they may not have a choice. Does go down.
Jackie?
And Jackie is very far forward, so they just jump him immediately. That'll force the buyback from Fearless. Jackie is gonna be okay, but Boombell will not be. Now, well, they're looking for more Abed. A great stop out from Jabs into Abed's X. And Fearless, he did just buy back. They can't afford to lose him like this. Now Masaros will control up the side with the Hex onto Jabs, but Kuku take care of him, and Fearless is gone on the Tiny. He does die back, and now Jackie also being caught out on the Drow. An ultra kill out for Savage, making a rampage.
Oh boy. MG.Trust, and they've been so patient for so long. They forced the smoke up the hill. Like, Savage was at the perfect spot at the perfect time to punish. All of a sudden, that lead of MG.Trust gone. Roshan, third of the game, going the way of Among Us. That's a refresh shard along with the Ages and Cheese. They're just ready to go to catch one out.
Masteros, now he'll be right. It's that point where you want to try and make something happen with this Aegis Cheese and a refresher shard for that matter. See, Savage is pretty far now. They should know that Fearless does not have buyback on the Tiny, but it seems as though it's going to be a slow process as Savage. He doesn't really have any boots up at the moment. He is just going to eat the cheese and start rushing through mid.
Yeah, it's a pretty good bounce back here for Kuku as well. Like, he's still behind in that fort, but not too behind Fearless. And Fearless was up there a while ago. There's an Abyssal now in Kuku, so they've got more ways of jumping in, more control. And it's been a fantastic time for Kuku. Despite all those deaths, still found a farm. They just need to make use of these pickups.
Bait's eating. Slow down Savage for a second. He has blocked to find Rapier. Alright, Savage has had enough of this game. So, straight Divine on the Morphling.
Yeah.
That'll do.
Why not? I don't mind it. It's like he hits like a truck. He's going to hit even harder. The only thing to stop him is Q's disarm, so that's really what they're going to depend on now.
Where is the Divine? He's keeping it in the courier for now. Does bring it out. Is it active? Into that Elder Titan form. Masteros always been hexed up, so Savage looking for that Oracle, doesn't quite get that, but just blows up Boombill, and now the Abyssal is out on Jackie. He'll try and Hurricane Pike away. They'll just focus on Masteros instead, and now Jackie will be focused down by Savage. He does get into the back lines, just hits him as the Elder Titan. But toss back, not quite to the fountain, but they got the Hex off on Savage. He has been strength morphing, does have the Aegis anyway. That'll be enough for Among Us. They get the racks, they back off.
Yeah, safe plays from them. They're just gonna take it slow. Savage is out of mana. Does still have the Aegis, so they're gonna go for the XTP play just to regen him to the full. And they force feed him mangoes in the base too. Just getting to that full mana point. Efficiency, Mike. It's always important. MG.Trust now. I mean, their one racks is protected. They've still got an outer tower left, but not going to hold on to these top
Fearless.
range.
Oh, Fearless, you can't die like this. Not right now. Caught by that kinetic field. And he's gone. That's a big crit out from Savage. Now they might just go for that final lane of racks.
I think they have to go for tier 4s. Yeah, the tier 2 is still up. Just going to go for that end game, and without the Tiny, your control is kind of gone here.
One tier 4 gone. That's another quick tier 4 gone for Savage. And he's just going to waveform through. He is done with this game. He wants the Ancient. And he's going to go straight for it. They can't really slow him down. Or can they? They get the Hex off from Masteros. Boats flying in. He'll waveform the other way. Another disarm. But he is focused in on those objectives. And that is it. GG Warplane is called. And Among Us will win their second 2-0 victory throughout these group stages thus far.
Oh yeah, I mean, this time around, MG.Trust did make them work for it. They had a lot of back and forth, a lot of good showings from MG.Trust, just not enough. They were a bit hesitant to use those BKBs and Masaros and Jackie when they were fresh. They didn't find the opportunities. The only real kills they were finding were on Whitemon, which, you know, are nice, but not the targets you're going for. And they take it too slow. Savage just scaled up way too much, and they couldn't find the answer. So a good win for Among Us. Hard-fought victory. MLPDotA, you know, these guys are the favorites for a lot of people among us. The fact that they brought such a